Hey guys, welcome to the third edition of Down the Right Field Line. My name is Rob, and I'm here with Rafi, and we're like every week we're going to be here talking about Major League Baseball as well, and more specifically Marlins baseball. If you want to follow us, you can follow us on Twitter at Down the RF Line, as well as on Facebook at our page Down the RF Line. You can also email us at downtherfline@yahoo. All these are different forms of communication that you can get a hold of us, and just talk to us, give us feedback, mention stuff that you want us to talk about in our next show, and we'll bring it up.
Definitely, we want your input. We want your opinions. We want all of that. So please, you have 3 ways to reach us, and go for it.
So let's jump right into it, Rafi. Recently, and towards the end of the season, Hanley Ramirez was obviously hurt.
Yeah.
And we saw him talk a lot in the media, which is not something Hanley does very often. But he was kind of like, I guess you can say, trying to give the fans something to look forward to. And he was talking about how he would be willing to move out of shortstop if the Marlins signed somebody like Jose Reyes, or if they got him in a trade, rather, or somebody of that caliber.
Right.
And recently, when we got Ozzie in here, they asked him that, and it came out in the Marlins website. What are your thoughts about that? And kind of give us a little bit of what Ozzie said.
Well, basically, what Ozzie said was that as long as Hanley's in the lineup, that's what it's gonna be. I mean, he could theoretically move positions, but the main thing is that Hanley's bat is in the lineup. And
Right.
as far as what makes more sense, if he were to move positions, it would probably be third base, and so it actually makes sense because we technically have somewhat of a hole at third base. So, but of course, this would only happen if we were to sign a Jose Reyes or a Jimmy Rollins, or a player like that. I mean, I don't think they would do that with an Alex Gonzalez. I mean, it'd be great to, it'd be interesting to have him back, but that wouldn't make sense. So,
That's pretty interesting that you mentioned Jimmy Rollins, because every Marlins fan hates that guy for everything he's done against the Marlins. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned third base.
Right.
That would be the obvious position to move from, being he's from shortstop. But with all his troubles at shortstop, you can say I've always seen him as a gold caliber shortstop. He's on the precipice of reaching that gold glove.
Yeah.
But he's never actually made that leap.
No, definitely.
Do you think third base would be the likely position? Or I remember last year a lot of fans were talking about moving him to the outfield, or other positions.
As far as the other thing that I'm concerned about, and I think as Marlins fans we're all concerned about, is his shoulder. Going through I think a few surgeries now, right? If I'm not mistaken, and
right.
That's obviously going to take a toll, and you still have to recover from that. And it may be an improvement with the shoulder at third base as opposed to shortstop, but you still have to worry about that. And whether Hanley's reaction will be better at third, or whether he'll be able to cover more ground at third, let's be, I guess, honest here. As a third baseman, I think you have to have that quick reaction, and I think you can cover that ground. So, I think it'll be a lot better for him, just like Alex Rodriguez made that move.
Right.
He may struggle in the beginning, but I think it'll eventually catch on.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Hanley would be covering that line, because, like you said, his shoulder. So you saw Aramis Ramirez, I'm not sure if it was this season or past season, dive to his right and get that shoulder popped out, and then he was gone for a little while. At shortstop, Hanley's been very hesitant towards diving to his right. He does it a lot to his left. But, that's the biggest thing, I think, for him to move to third base. If he can get that done, if the surgery really repaired that shoulder as good as we're thinking, then, third base would be the likely progression. Outfield, I think he would dive a lot more in the outfield, so his shoulder would be a lot more at risk.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's kind of weird to see him in the outfield. I can't picture it.
I mean, with his speed, he could cover a lot of ground.
Yeah,
so, it's one of those things that it fits. You don't. I agree with you. It would be kind of weird to see him in the outfield, but I think Ozzie Guillen is a smart enough manager to say, I think Hanley can handle this position. And Ozzie Guillen himself was a shortstop, so he'll know what to do. And I feel very comfortable as far as what's going to happen there. So let me ask you a quick question, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Epstein going to the Cubs. Do you think that'll have an impact next season, long term? What's your thoughts?
I think the Cubs are expecting a miracle worker. Especially since he was successful in Boston. And that whole president of baseball operations thing sounds way too familiar.
Right.
Yeah, so whoever's the GM with the Cubs now.
Well, they're looking to hire the GM from the Padres, I think, to be the GM there. So it's like, well, we all know that he's going to be doing all the moves. So
yeah. I feel like, I've heard, I don't know how many GMs that have been rumored and moving around. Even our own assistant, Dan Jennings, has been rumored about. So, I just find it interesting that there are so many GMs in question, right? Or at least a topic of conversation.
Personally, I think Dan Jennings, he's been a great scout.
Yeah.
He's in charge of the scouting department, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get any better in the job he has here just because of where we're moving to. If this was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, he's out of here quickly.
Right.
But the position he's in now, moving into a new ballpark, huge off-season coming up, you can't get any better than this. So, personally, what I think about Epstein, I think, like everybody's saying, if he wins a championship there, he's going to go down as the best GM in the history of baseball in the entire world.
Yeah.
But, like you said, you can't think this guy's a miracle worker and all of a sudden they're going to win the World Series next year.
Right.
I think they have a lot of bad contracts. They have a lot of stuff that need to get fixed. And hopefully 3 to 5 years, hopefully they get back in the playoffs, and we'll see where they go from there. They definitely have the money, so we'll see what happens. Our final topic, recently the World Series, we had a sort of a thing go on during the game.
Yeah.
Tony LaRussa called, said, "I want this guy up." They said they heard, "Oh, I want this other guy up." They had Lynn warming up. And all of a sudden, he comes out of the bullpen, and LaRussa's like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
And now it's already being phrased as Phonegate. What happened, and what do you think?
I was watching the game, and when I saw Zipchinski for David Murphy made sense. Fine.
Right.
But then, why was Zipchinski pitching to Napoli? And we later got clarification of what happened there. But the part that really got me like, what, was that, once Lance Lynn came in and threw 4 wide ones to walk, they walked Kinsler, that's what it was, and then to bring in Mott, then he struck out Andrews really easily.
Right.
So the question was, well, why wasn't Mott up to face Napoli? And there you go. And when I heard the answer, it's one of those things where you don't think those things can happen, where the actual crowd can actually affect they can affect the outcome of the game in certain ways.
They did. I've always told you, Rafi, when we go to Marlins games, when you're in the stadium, you can affect the outcome of a game, because if there's I know we have a story a long time ago we went to a Diamondbacks game, or was it Phillies?
Phillies.
Phillies game, and Placido Polanco was running out, and he was playing second base, so he tried to make a basket catch in foul territory running out, and we were sitting in the bullpen box, and just as he was about to catch it, our whole section screamed at the top of their lungs all at once. And we, our story is we thought we affected him by maybe it startled him and he dropped the ball. I don't know what happened after that, but we were so happy that we affected the game. So I definitely think when you're at a ball game, you can definitely affect the outcome of the game, whether it's screaming at something, maybe the noise, or just distractions. We saved the best for last. We wanted our random video of the week to kind of end the show. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Down the RF Line. Tweet us on different things that we talked about today, and let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about Phonegate and what's gone on with the World Series. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Down the RF Line, and comment on this video. Let us know what you think, and we'll talk about it on our next show. We'll see you next week, and we'll leave you with the random video of the week, which we like to call the Major Freak Out. Keep listening.